Come on in. Happy Friday. I hope you had a beautiful week. I'd intended coming on here earlier this week, but life was lifing, but I am back now. So make sure you have your drinks ready, your popcorn, you're comfortable. We are about to get into some things, and tonight's show, we are doing a review of The Long Walk. I think it is Stephen King's one of his best movies. It was a lot of emotional twists and turns. You would think something as mundane as walking couldn't possibly be interesting, but the king of horror always finds a way to make a story interesting and add some twists. And this movie definitely did not disappoint. So we are going to get ready to get into some things. But before we do that, welcome to Aries Rose TV. My name is Aries Rose. If you are not familiar with me, come on in and get comfortable. I like to talk a little bit about everything. So here on this channel, we talk about movies, TV shows, streaming shows, celebrity news, world news, local news, politics, basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. So if you like to talk a little bit about everything, this is a perfect channel for you. We'd love to have you a part of the Aries crew. Just hit that subscription button and hit that notification bell so you can find out every time I go live, post on the page, upload shorts, and all that good stuff. We're on Instagram, Aries Rose TV. If you're on there, follow us there. Let us know you're from YouTube and we'll follow you back. And now let's get into The Long Walk. So let me know in the comments here, if you've been on a live before, you know the drill. If you are part of the Aries crew, leave hashtag Aries crew in the comments. If you are a first time watcher, leave first time watcher. I'm going to give you a shout out for stopping by. And when you subscribe, let us know in the comments. We'll definitely give you a shout out. I want to personally welcome you to the channel. And we are going to get into The Long Walk. So this is one of Stephen King's first books, but it was not one of the first movie adaptations from a book, but it was one of the first books that he's ever written. If you are familiar with Stephen King, he is, in my opinion, the king of horror. He's got some of the scariest books and movies that have come out. Personally, my scariest is Pet Sematary. That was the first movie as a little kid that I had ever seen, the first truly scary movie I'd ever seen as a little kid. And that movie gave me nightmares, in particular, Pascal. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And I can just remember when the doctor woke up at night and he turned his head and that guy was right there and he had had an accident with a truck and he was totally disfigured in his spirit form. Very scary. Very, very scary to see as a child, and that stuck with me. So it took a long time before I got into scary movies in particular because of that one. But that movie later on, when I became an adult and started to enjoy scary movies, that was one of the first ones I rewatched, and I still like it to this day. The original one, the one from the 80s, I want to say came out in like 88 or 89. And he's had some other ones in between. He's had It. He's gotten so many different scary movies that he has put out here. And this particular one doesn't kind of fit that typical genre of a monster or boo type scary. It's something very regular that these young men are doing, but they somehow can make it very scary and menacing. So we're going to get a description of the movie here from IMDb. From Stephen King's official site, in the near future, where America has become a police state, 100 boys are selected to enter an annual contest where the winner will be awarded whatever he wants for the rest of his life. The game is simple: maintain a steady walking pace of 4 miles per hour without stopping. 3 warnings, and you're out permanently. So that's kind of what it is in the book. In the movie, I believe they just need to walk 3 miles an hour, but same concept here. So you would think, okay, just walking, how scary can that be? Is that kind of boring? Not at all. So I don't know why women don't do this, but it's just men. And you meet all of the ones who are on this walk kind of in different ways through them interacting with each other. So in the beginning, you don't kind of get to know everyone right off the bat, but through different situations happening and different characters meeting, that's how you'll kind of expand how many you're getting to know that are on this walk. Some of them talk about their motivations, why they're there, what they hope to achieve when they win. And through it all, you're watching a bond and a camaraderie build with total strangers who are essentially competing with each other for this ability to win this ultimate prize. And this ultimate prize is they get to have whatever wish they want if they make it to the end of this walk. And when they get whatever wish they want, in addition to that, they'll get all the money that they've ever dreamed of, that they've ever wanted. And why it's set up this way, not 100% clear, but I did see another YouTuber that was kind of talking about the movie and saying that the book itself they had heard was loosely based on that Vietnam, because it was around the time that that was written in the 70s, probably mid to late 70s, and Vietnam was going on. So it's kind of like an allegory to how long soldiers had to walk. um, these are all young men that are in this particular situation here. They look like maybe late teens, early 20s ish age is kind of the vibe you get, but I don't think anybody gave their ages, but just gauging off of how they look, that's what I would say it was. But definitely, I didn't see anybody that you would consider older. Anybody that was older than probably mid 20s, maybe at most mid early 30s, were these soldiers, and these soldiers were older. And Mark Hamill, who we know as Luke Skywalker, he does not look like that in this movie at all. I didn't even realize it was Mark Hamill until after I saw the movie and looked it up. He plays kind of like this sergeant major, and he's the one that's kind of like the taskmaster, if you will, of keeping this walk going. And he pops up here and there in the movie, but whenever he's there, he definitely commands the scene and commands the moment. And he's just kind of trying to be this motivator, but he's just really a jerk. And it's kind of a allegory to somebody who's has the power over you, and they're kind of taunting you with that, and they're making you think that something that you're doing is what you want to do, or you doing this is the ultimate achievement, to kind of brainwash you into thinking that this very long, and I mean hundreds of miles, that they have to walk is somehow showing their hard work and dedication, and their reward at the end of this is to get one wish for whatever you want and get all the money, except there can only be one winner. So you have, I want to say it's like 50 that are participating in the version that you see in the movie, and only one of them is going to make it. There's not a way to split the prize, or at least that's not really the direction that the movie goes. So we're going to kind of talk a little spoiler free about this. The actors that really stood out to me in this movie, in addition to Mark Hamill, was David Johnson here and this gentleman here. I'm going to get his name. These two, I would say, were kind of the main characters of the movie, and their relationship and watching their characters grow and get to know each other was one of the more enjoyable parts of this movie. So this one is Cooper Hoffman, and this is David Johnson. And those two, to me, I think without them being in the movie, it would not have held up as well. Their chemistry and the way they were able to play off of the other actors in the movie definitely kept me engaged. Right off the bat, this movie is graphic. It does not really hold back, and some of the things that it shows, it's a lot. I tell you right now, I was kind of taken aback by how far it went into that. Normally, movies will cut away on these scenes or kind of blur it out, and no, they just go no holds bar. It is what it is. And, there's some pretty gnarly, gruesome deletions that happen in this movie. You definitely end up getting wrapped up in these characters, and you care when things start to happen to them. You care when you see them start to lose their energy to keep going and their motivation. you definitely get inspired by the way they help each other. Even though they're competing against each other, they are there to also help and support each other, even when some are questionable, because there's always that one in the bunch that just can't be with the group. They got to try to do something different. And it was just great how they all came together, understanding, they were all kind of there under not so great circumstances, volunteered to be there, but the circumstances really suck, and they were trying to keep each other's spirits up. And I just liked how they treated something where they knew, you know, ultimately only one of us is going to win. And by one of us winning, that means that the rest of us are not going to make it. And not just, oh, you didn't keep up pace, you can't even compete, you lose. Like, they lose their life. And that premise is wild to me. And watching that happen on the screen is even crazier. I truly don't know if this is a movie I would ever go and see again, because it was just that graphic and it was a lot. And I didn't particularly care for that. I don't like when movies go that deep. But if that does not bother you, then you'll enjoy the movie, because the story itself is great. I think it's one of Stephen King's best, for sure, in screen adaptations. The imagery that you see, even though it's just people walking, you can tell by the way the time of day is passing, or the different scenes when they're going through these kind of dystopian. Really, it almost gives the sense of like Hunger Games, when these cities kind of have no life in them anymore, and everybody there is really sad and looks depressed and hungry. It's just a very grim look at what was going on in that time. You can kind of see the desperation there. It wasn't like these parades of, people coming out to see this because they're cheering them on to get this prize. They're watching because they want to see who's going to lose their life. So they have, along this path that they're walking, there'll be kind of spectators there, and it's being filmed as well. So people are kind of watching this like a reality TV thing unfold, which was kind of like the Hunger Games, when people were sitting there watching it or picking who they want to help, except that's not what happens here. Nobody can come and give them help or intervene. They just have to figure it out on their own, and survival of the fittest in this sense definitely applies. It's a really great movie. A lot of suspense. It's macabre, it's somber, it's dark. I'm just going to warn you, it's not going to have any real happiness to it, but you are going to see some light in people kind of coming to terms with themselves, their destiny, friendships bonding, where people are using that motivation from maybe another person to kind of take action on their behalf if they can't, because everybody really does care about each other, and you start to get that feeling and you start to care about them while you're watching them grow and develop these relationships. So it does start to hurt when you see people going. The first one and the last one hits the hardest, but all of them in between, you felt some level of emotion, because you felt like, dang, this person can't help it. You don't really have to do that. Like, give them a break. And you have to remember, they could not stop walking. Even if they needed to go to the restroom, they have to continue walking. Even if you are hurt, it does not matter. You had to continue walking at a certain pace, or you could lose your life, period, point blank. There was no in between. Absolutely wild. So if you're looking to be on the edge of your seat, see some crazy stuff, this is definitely the movie to go check out. It does not disappoint. And let's take a little pause here for a comment. Jan, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. So let me know if you've seen The Long Walk, if you are a fan of Stephen King. What did you think of the movie? For me, I definitely give it a 4.5 out of 5. Completely worth going to see in the theater. I think having that experience with other people and kind of feeding off that energy in there's nothing like that for seeing a movie. It's just not the same without enjoying it with other people, in my personal opinion. So if you can go see it, definitely recommend going to see it in theaters. Stay tuned where we'll do a spoiler review where we'll go into the movie in a little bit more detail, but this was just an overview. We'll be live this weekend, and then we'll be back to going live on the weeknights again next week. So stay tuned, because we're going to talk about some different trending topics and things that have been going on. Hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. Share this live out with friends and family that you know love to watch movies and are Stephen King fans. Look forward to the dialogue in the comments. The Aries girl always has some very interesting, awesome, thought provoking things to say. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you.